Well, well, well. Fancy seeing you here, Starladder fans. Thank you for sticking with us during the break because we've got one more game coming up for our America coverage today. We've got CNB versus the Sneaky Nicks Assassins. I'm Zayori once again, joined by Blaze, Mr. David. Sir, what's going on, my man?
Not too much. Had a pretty awesome game from SNA last time around. Now they're going to be bringing that same game to against CNB. We'll see how the Brazilian squad will handle it, but already seeing some cool transitions in the meta a little bit, different heroes being picked up, and just some pretty good success. TC had some great Brewmaster that spanned out here, but no matter what, we're going to see some big plays from him as well as some of the other ex-Liquid members.
Yes, indeed. Oh, Team Liquid. They're in shambles. Ned, or not Ned, TC is the only official member of their roster, and as you can see here, he is not playing under the Liquid colors. So, who knows? Maybe this could be the new Liquid team. You never know. The rumor mills are in full force right now. But they were looking good in the last game. And again, worth reiterating, they do not have Ush with them. It is TC drafting today, and Degenerate is here in the stead of Mr. Ush. On the dire side, on the dire side, we've got CNB. They have a stand-in of their own. Sono is here today in the place of Baga, I do believe. And it is Klotz doing the drafting. And Ned was able to load in, so that's always a step in the right direction.
Yep, everybody here ready to rumble for the most part. We're going to see some bans coming out here. The Nature's Prophet to alleviate some push potential with Forge Spirits, as well as the Treants, as well as the Mass Serpent Wards. Just a little bit frustrating there, but they have their game plan already underway with the Viper pick to go in the mid lane. It's really good hero to 1v1 Invoker early. 1 point another Toxin is plenty to guarantee last hits against a hero with such low base damage, and even when he starts scaling with points and Exort, as I presume he will build, the Viper's still going to be able to kind of match him tick for tat. So CNB is still threatening as far as kill potential with a lot of disables coming out from Shadow Shaman and Earthshaker. It's the perfect setup to a Sunstrike at global range, but even still, SNA, they suspect it, and they're going to answer back with the Centaur from IX Mike.
Yes, sir. And some smart bans from the Sneaky Nicks Assassins with those two big pushing heroes to stop CNB from going all-out push here. They will still find plenty of potency. You mentioned the Earthshaker, but there's that Watermelon, Tide Hunter slated for the off lane, and quite a bit of team fight synergy around that CNB roster. We'll see what the Nicks Assassins do with their 4th pick here coming up.
Yep, a lot of huge AoE team fights, really what they're looking for. SNA, they might actually have to draft in a little bit of a ratty sense to some degree, or something where they don't actually have to commit to fights when they don't want to. They can either outfarm their opponents, or they can push down towers. That's pretty much their main objective, because they want to force CNB to come to them and to force the issue on their turf. Because although Centaur is a great initiator, that he just doesn't compare to a Tide Earthshaker when it comes down to those full 5-on-5 fights. So SNA, they want to outfarm, they want to outcarry, and we'll see what they end up putting in the hands of Degenerate this time around.
Yes, sir. His Luna was pretty damn potent. I think there's no doubt about that. I was a little bit nervous about her as she hasn't been so popular in this patch in this meta game, but as you were pointing out, the statistics are sort of in her favor in terms of that win percentage, and based on how little she's picked relative to some of the other heroes that are popular here. Maybe one they'll want to try again. They've got their mid hero, they've got their offlaner, so it is about that second support and the Degenerate hero like you mentioned. So time will tell. The Nicks Assassins will deliberate a bit as they eat through most of that reserve time, and whoa, daddy! It's the Juggernaut.
Now the question is whether this is going to be a support Juggernaut or a carry one. I'm actually leaning towards support just because how awesome it is with Skywrath, the Concussive Shot, the Ancient Seal, both synergizing very well with the Blade Fury. And you can just take people down left and right, especially low movement speed heroes like Shadow Shaman, pretty easily. But we'll see if that's going to be their intention. No matter the case, they've got one hero that can stay in the fight very actively. He's got the Blade Fury, he can ignore the Ravage, and quite a few spells thrown out by Invoker and Shadow Shaman. So he's going to be sitting high and dandy. The Viper can maybe mitigate some damage with a Corrosive if he builds tanky, and in general, it's going to work pretty well here. The Luna is a good pick in the sense that she's a natural BKB carrier. I think she was a better counter pick in the sense that she took down Razor really easily. You were looking for something that cleans him up nice and neat, and the Luna was certainly fine in those terms, but now they have to look at a way to deal with this Anti-Mage, and that's a pick we haven't seen in some time.
Yes, sir. I would not have predicted the Anti-Mage last pick here, especially because the opening of this draft made you think they were going to go for pushing. The middle portion of this draft is like, okay, now they'll expand out into some team fight. We talked about the setup between Shadow Shaman and Earthshaker. And now you see this anti-mage, and he's not so much into those early team fights. He'll be looking to have some space created and soak up the farm. So this draft is a little bit all over the place, and the Nyx Assassins will get Templar Assassin, a nice carry here, and that means we may see actually a position 1 Viper, and that's exactly so. It is the hero of Degenerate's choice. So kind of an interesting draft on both sides of the coin here, Blaze.
Yeah, very interesting to see the anti-mage come through. I mean, he's really good against the Skywrath mage as far as like just getting some extra damage on him and trying to actually use him as a nuclear missile with that mana void. But beyond that, I don't know. I mean, the split push is very effective in its own right. He can push one lane while 3 or 4 heroes from CNB push the others with their massive ultimates. But I think SNA have the right idea. Some negative armor from the Templar Assassin, some good burst combos in general, and yeah, they can actually give Anti-Mage some real grief pre-Manta style. And presumably, if he goes for that standard build of Battle Fury, treads into Manta, it'll be some time before he's able to dispel that Ancient Seal, and that may lead to his undoing.
Yeah, absolutely. And with this SNA lineup, I think they'll be able to come online just a little bit earlier. Viper is a lane dominator. He'll be looking to grab some early momentum, and even the Centaur, once he hits level 6, that's when the ultimate, of course, comes online, and he gets more global utility, and then when he grabs that Blink Dagger, he can start moving around, and he's a good hero to jump on the Anti-Mage, especially because he's just so damn bursty. You drop that Hoof Stomp double-edge combo, and that's a lot of damage to that Anti-Mage early on. Even with the Mana Shield reducing some of the magic damage coming his way, he's still very susceptible to those early deaths before he gets the Manta, before he gets those that BKB and those initial tank items you were talking about. Now, Battle Fury is, last I saw Anti-Mage, the name of the game to accelerate his farm. Is that still the case in our current meta, Blaze?
It's hard to keep with the tempo of the times, but I think the gold advantage from tower kills early on, if Sono is able to get some good ones with the wards and maybe the Invoker can contribute to the push activity, it'll be all right. I think that there's really no better way to do it in this case. Like, you can consider Vanguard, but the right clicks that are coming, you aren't going to alleviate them in a long-term sense. It'll be okay as an item pickup, but you want to actually accelerate your farm and be able to actually keep pace with essentially what is at least a dual core between the Viper and the TA.
Look at these good manners here, Blaze. Old Netty wishing Mike some good luck, and there it is. The return the favor, IX Mike 88, throwing out the good lucks. Oh, boy. We're in for a good game here. Let's introduce some rosters on the Radiant side. We've got the sneaky Nyx Assassins. Will be way too sexy on the position 4 Juggernaut. Fluff and Stuff on the position 5 Skywrath Mage. They'll be supporting Degenerate, the stand-in here for the sneaky Nyx Assassins in the place of Ush on the position 1 Viper. In the mid, that leaves us with TC on the Templar Assassin and our buddy IX Mike. He's in the off lane on Big Brad, half man, half horse. 100% beast, Blaze.
Yeah, we'll have to see 40R's early Fisher come out and see how effective it is going to be, because this flank is absolutely perfect to bring down the Invoker. Already 280 base MS. If they were slowed down, that would be a problem, but they're going to actually make their full rotation up top, suspecting maybe the Earthshaker's up on the cliff here, or as we see him in the mid. So they're going to rotate around. Shadow Shaman going to be the hero to bring down, and I think they can manage it.
Yep, of course, that first point in Blade Fury, a lot of potential damage output here. A double damage onto Sono, but it doesn't matter. The Hoof Stomp connects, and Way2 will just chop him down. They don't even need the spin. And that is a first blood drawn. IX Mike gets a little bit of bonus experience, but it is the Juggernaut that gets the gold.
Yeah, I really thought they might have some chance for counterplay if it was the assault on the Invoker with that Fisher, but since they focused him down and he was as far forward as he could be to harass back the Centaur, in this case he is going to be the easy feed, and now it looks like kind of a semi-aggro try. They got a 1v1 matchup that favors Viper here up against Ned. He's going to have Viper versus Tide outside of Anchor Smash range, and with the early boots pickup, he should be able to just guarantee this matchup.
Yeah, and you're certainly right about that. Viper wins out against pretty much every melee hero. Tide is tanky and decently, well, he's okay suited to deal with it. You mentioned the issues with Anchor Smash, but he will struggle, and Viper should be able to find plenty of farm. So they'll more focus on shutting down the Anti-Mage and securing some farm for Mike, which means fast level 6 as well as a fast Blink Dagger, and that's where they'll gain a lot of that mid-game momentum. Mid lane, TC and King RD going blow for blow, but Way2's on his way in. That's a Blade Fury. This should be a dead Invoker. That'll make it 2-0 to start this game off as the sneaky Nyx Assassins are off to the races.
And they're calling out right now for Degenerate to get back. The fact that there was no response in the mid lane means the supports are guaranteed roaming bottom. Degenerate knows it. He's going to play it safe, and this roaming smoke is not going to be effective at all. It's going to be a regen rune race, but with them both being melee heroes, the only way to stop it is to Fisher it, and that costs Earthshaker plenty.
Yep, he's got a couple of clarities, but that'll be the end of his mana pool for now. Way2 well, does get tickled a bit. Eats a Tango, still has plenty of mana for a Blade Fury, close to level 3 as well. And he's already been very active, secured 2 kills in about 2.5 minutes of gameplay. Not a bad way for a support Juggernaut to get things started. They will rotate down bottom, looking perhaps for a kill on Netty here. He will back it on up. A 1-1-1 opener at level 3, so does grab that, quote, value point in Gush. And I say quote because you'll see a lot of Tides actually opting to skip it and just tanking up with an extra point in Kraken Shell or leveling up that Anchor Smash.
So right now they're kind of essentially winning all the lanes. They're not going to be really get too many kills on Klotz here because just even one value point in spell should be enough to alleviate most of what the Centaur and the Skywrath bring. He's actually going to go 2 points in it, which might even be overkill, but no matter the case, the important thing is that he's not finding farm. If he does want Battle Fury for his first item, he's going to have to work for it, and that means that he's not going to find that timing where it's like the perfect double Ancient Stack farm after a fresh 12-minute Battle Fury into the earliest Manta you can expect. No, he's going to be set back, and in the meantime, there's activity all across the map.
Yeah, and this is part of the issue with the Juggernaut, or pardon me, with the Anti-Mage in this current meta. He's just not so well suited for it. He needs still a lot of time to come online. I say Juggernaut, and for good reason. Flanders down bottom, gets engaged upon, and Blade Fury makes it an easy kill on the Tidehunter. That will be 3-0 as the Sneaky Nyx Assassins continue lane dominance across the board.
It's very difficult to hold these lanes right now. King RD might be able to find something here and there, but in general, TC is just running over the lane. 20-5 against 13-2. King RD only gets 1 point in Exhort because he's playing so defensively. So in the end, the last hits will only come out under the tower, and even then, it's not the easiest. So we're going to see some harassment again on the Anti-Mage. He has no HP regen beyond 4 Tangos, but it's going to be enough for him to trade hits with the Centaur, and that's what's important. Centaur Warrunner is a hero that no longer can even cast 2 spells very easily with his base mana pool. So a couple of hits here and there, the mana break really makes a difference.
The only potential problem is Double Edge does not cost any mana, just that health resource. So if they get a good silence and Skywrath does catch him off guard, there is still potential for a kill. 4DR will rotate back up towards the top lane, and Mike is starting to take some harassment from Klotz, and he is at least finding some last hits. 15 CS up on him, and 16 on the Invoker. Glancing at the graph, though, already about 2,500 gold, 2,000 experience in the favor of the Sneaky Nyx Assassins. Pretty damn significant considering we're still in that first 5 minutes of gameplay. Mid lane, Courier could be in trouble here. It'll get chopped down. One more auto attack. They can't find it. Just brown boots on him. But, wow, close call. Those are 4DR's boots. And looks like he'll be okay. King RD, different story. As he gets dove upon in the trees. Does micro around a little bit, buys himself some time, but TC pops the refraction, way two with the spin. And, of course, that will mitigate any kind of stun coming out from the Earthshaker, and they will secure the kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Klotz diving onto IX Mike, but not enough for the kill. Whoa, they're coming back onto Sono, but he TP's home. Still 4-0. Sneaky Nyx Assassin continuing with the momentum. Tidehunter now falls. Degenerate finds a complete solo kill. He's level 6, now level 7. Viper Strike makes it an easy one on the Tidehunter.
Yeah, just able to close the distance easily with the Viper Strike, and there's nowhere to run when you're that far out. So they are now kind of giving a little bit of reprieve in the top lane. Anti-Mage gets to be very active and very aggressive, not afraid of pretty much anything. But losing the other lanes so hard is just not going to give Anti-Mage the timing he wants. Way too already has a point booster on his support Juggernaut. Boots, point booster. He's going to go for an Ag Rush, and he'll find it at a relatively good time.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. If you get it right around the time you hit level 11, there's that window where you go to 12 jumps, or pardon me, where you go to 9 jumps, and it's just absurd for that stage in the game, how much damage you do and the amount of time you spend invulnerable. That's the other thing about the Omni Slash with the Ag Scepter. It increases that time that you can survive in a fight where you're not even targetable. And that is pretty scary. Double damage TC. Heading down to the bottom rune. Old Netty. He's in some trouble. All he has are brown boots. Refraction will give TC all he needs to make this an easy kill, or will it? The Gush buys the Tide some time. Phase boots are online, and TC will dive it. Connects with the side trap. And, yep, there you go. That's a dead Tidehunter. And TC will survive pretty easily here. Pops the meld, and he does have a TP scroll to make the quick escape if necessary. But he'll actually just dog it back to the mid lane.
A brief 60% reduction is all well and good, but when you've already got the plus 100% from the double damage rune, it just doesn't do enough, and he does get the chance to dive deep. Earthshaker's been buying TPs all game long. He's TP'd to mid lane twice over, so he's rather poor and not able to respond to the deepest of dives that come out of the Templar. If she's able to just kind of go for those 1 versus 1 matchups, it's really easy for her to come out on top, and so far that just gives huge momentum for SNA.
Yeah, Nettie, man, he's going to take another tumble. That's a 0-4-0 tied, not even level 6 yet. And just nothing he can do against this Juggernaut. Even if he had Ravage there, the Blade Fury would have brought him down, and of course it makes way too immune. And this roaming Juggernaut has proved pretty damn potent.
Yeah, I thought he would actually have to stick with the Skywrath for a lot longer, but they parted ways a long time ago, and just finding a slow here and there, it's been plenty. They get the TA traps, they get the Viper Strike. Anything will really set up the Juggernaut for success, and he's about to have Omni Slash. I mean, he'll have to go back to the well to get the mana for everything, but no matter the case, they're pushing hard, they're killing hard, and CNB are on the ropes only 8 minutes in.
Yeah, 4,000 gold, almost 5,000 experience lead for the Radiant side. IX Mike, not quite level 6, but halfway through 5. So Stampede will be online before too long. Full mana pool. This is that opportunity to try to grab a kill on Klotz if they can find the silence. He does have the early Ring of Health, which is usually an indicator that Battle Fury will be his item of choice. The question is the timing. Even if he gets the Battle Fury at an okay timing in a vacuum, the rest of his team is so far behind. There is a lot riding on the shoulders of this anti-mage right now.
Yeah, and it's just not going to come out in time. Like you were talking about, the tempo of SNA and how they're able to be very active very early is just insane. The mechanism already coming up for the Viper, and he's one of those heroes that doesn't really care too much about his mana pool to have to worry about it. The Basilius regen, a magic stick, that's plenty for him to get into the fights, and without a Ravage, they just can't hold these towers. Healing Ward comes out, way too spins down the creep wave. It does exhaust his mana pool. Offense potential is gone, but they're here to just claim the tower and back off, and that's what they will achieve.
Yep, Viper will get the last hit, and Degenerate already has a mech. He goes Brown Boots straight into mech, and now Nyx Assassins are in team fighting shape. Not that they weren't before, but even more so with that huge healing item. King RD, he just can't find anything in the mid lane. He's already been picked off twice, just on Brown Boots, Null Tally, and the Basilius. He does have 1,300 gold, and he may be looking for that Hand of Midas, which is so common with the Exort Invokers. But again, if they go these double farming tools, it'll make it even easier for the sneaky Nyx Assassins to run over them in this laning stage, as they already have so much momentum. I feel like CNB are now cornered into grabbing some items that will give them a little edge now. Maybe some bracers, work towards a mech, maybe even a force staff, something so that they can take some fights ASAP. Mid lane, way too looking for the Omni Slash. There's the Stampede, Earl Stampede. They'll charge forward. He has the Omni Slash available, just goes for the spin. Connects onto King RD. He will be the first to go down. Degenerates here with the Viper Strike onto Sono. Looks like he'll be the second to fall. 4RD takes the Omni Slash to the face. A 3-for-0. Ned, one creep kill away from level 6, but he can't find it. They get mech'd up back to full health, and they will just chop away at this tier 1 tower.
Putting on an absolute clinic here right now. SNA are just giving them no chance to come back. They're going ahead and taking every single tier 1 tower off the map. No deny coming through in mid. Some real damage about to be coming out on the top lane. And all these fights are happening before the ultimates are available. That's the huge thing, is SNA don't have the same 5v5 potential that CNB would be with their full arsenal. But right now there is a level 3 Earthshaker, a level 5 and 99% of a level for the Tide. And it's just enough that they're able to get all these pushes in before any of the real spells come out.
Yeah, Ravage will finally come out onto the field, but frankly, the damage has been done. Top tier 1 tower even takes about half health, but this gold graph is just damn scary. Almost 10,000 gold lead. That's about 1,000 gold per minute that the sneaky Nyx Assassins have been able to pull ahead here. Phase Boots, drums on the TA. She's level 10, and looking towards Ayasha most likely with that Blade of Alacrity. Another double damage rune on TC as he clears out the dire jungle. Way 2 will defend down bottom, and it is a Perseverance out on Anti-Mage, so Klotz does seem to be committing to the Battle Fury there for that farm accelerated.
Yeah, the problem is they're going for both the Battle Fury and the Hand of Midas on the Invoker. If it was one or the other, I'd say you gotta do what you gotta do, get some farm for the mid to late game, but in this case, they're going for 2 items that won't do much in a combat sense, and it's going to be entirely reliant on the Mass Serpent Wards as well as the Ravage, if they ever even come through. Right now on top lane, a Degenerate is just kind of going for the solo push, Aquila and Mechanism to keep the creeps moving, and it's actually pretty smart that nobody went back to the top lane to defend, because the Blink Centaur was ready and waiting to go for a 3v1.
Yeah, they will try to go for a tower exchange, but they just have no pushing power. Anti-Mage is chipping at it. Dire side do pop the glyph, and they will head up top, but the TP's too late. Klotz makes it up. The tower's already fallen. Viper gets the last hit. He'll get Viper struck straight away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Ravage comes out from Ned as they dive him. Anchor smash, but there's just no follow-up damage. It's a solo Ravage. Now 4DR TP's in, takes a silence to the face. To the face! And then they bring him down. An easy 2-0. Onage is right, Mr. Announcer. It is now 12-0 in exactly 12 minutes of gameplay. Soon to be 13 perhaps. Klotz takes a silence. Where's the follow-up? IX Mike, well, a little off the money there with the hoof stomp, but that's okay. You miss 100% of hoof stomps you don't take.
Sure enough. If they didn't have the vision, essentially, so it was good movement from Anti-Mage, but it was nighttime that really kept him alive. Still, that Ravage, I think that's worse than losing the Tidehunter 3 more times. They needed that Ravage to bring themselves back into the game, and without that tool, they have absolutely nothing across this entire map. That was the worst Ravage they could have possibly hoped for, and it essentially, I mean, obviously they were already really screwed, but that's going to lose every outer tier tower remaining for CNB.
Yeah, it's such a big cooldown, and that's sort of what their team fight hinges on right now. With Earthshaker only level 3, that's their big disable, and he popped it when there was absolutely no follow-up. And at least this top tier 2 will fall. CNB grouping up about the bottom lane. They were pressuring the tier 1 hard, but TI went down to defend. She does have the Yasha now in the inventory, and that alone is enough to repel them. We'll see where the Nix Assassins go as this tier 1 tower falls in the top lane. Viper is just balling out of control alongside the TA. He's only 1,500 off an Ag Scepter at this point.
And Juggernaut's about to pick his up. Speaking of, my goodness, these Ag Scepter timings are absolutely absurd. I've never seen a supportive Juggernaut. That's got to be a record in competitive Dota 2. Obviously, it's hard to determine roles for this hero, but a supportive Juggernaut actually picking up an Aghanim Scepter at 14 minutes into the game. That is just absolutely unreal. Now they find out the stack that Ty's been wanting to farm, but too low in the Kraken shell to actually sustain against, and they'll be able to take that too.
See, and that's where that, quote, value point in Gush it becomes a problem. You need that extra point in Kraken Shell to really tank you up. I mean, at this point, he should have just grabbed a value Stout Shield, as it would have worked a little bit with that first point in Kraken Shell. Klotz just gets run over. They pop the Stampede, and all 5 just jump on him. With the silence, he becomes a corpse, and right now, all he has is a Perseverance Broadsword Brown Boots. I mean, he has no HP whatsoever except that one lone GG branch.
Yeah, and ganks like that can happen for the next 10 minutes too. Until he gets Manta Style, there's no way to prevent the silence, and that's the one reason Anti-Mage generally lives through most fights, is that skill alone. So preventing that entirely. Now going for Roche from the Radiant side. I have not seen as one-sided a match as this in a long time. Maybe they can go for the full shutout. They haven't lost a tower. They haven't lost a life. Though King RD is trying to claim one on the top lane. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, they'll be able to TP in, and that will repel him. Oh, IX Mike blinks forward. That's a solo Omni Slash, and it's a dead Invoker. Waitu picks up another kill. Buyback from the Invoker. They want to contest the Roche. The Aegis is already picked up when he Ravages. Oh, no, they do get a kill on the Skywrath. Sona will secure it with the Ether Shock there, but now TC just going blow for blow with Klotz. He'll even tank the Rasta wards. TC is an absolute monster right now. A double kill as he brings down the Rasta. It will burn the Aegis, but it doesn't matter. Netty GG's out, and 15 minutes in, we have a victor, Blaze. Holy Toledo.
Jeez, I have not seen such a stomp in competitive Dota in the longest of times. In the end, they lose 2 lives, but TC gets the Ultra kill. Looking for the Rampage, but I don't know if he has time. Looks like they canceled the countdown. But the Sunstrike comes through, and he gets turned around on as the Ancient falls.
Oh, King RD gets a little moral victory there, I guess, but wow. I thought that would be at least a little more even. CNB. I don't know what happened, but they just fell apart. Every lane was kind of a disaster.
Waitu Juggernaut happened. Apparently 6-0-5, 500 GPM, involved in almost all their kills. Like, they couldn't win a lane. It was all because Waitu was across the map, getting kills left, right, and center. This guy was absolutely absurd earlier on his Shadow Shaman play, and now here on the Juggernaut. Easy MVP.
Yeah, very, very impressive. I mean, would you say this was a drafting issue, execution issue? What was the main area where CNB really dropped the ball? What was the actual deal breaker, do you think?
Oh, Tidehunter dying so many times delayed his level progression to get to the Ravage point, and then once he got it, he lost it. Obviously, they drafted slow. The Invoker, the Anti-Mage aren't early game heroes, so the fact that they were on the table hurts their strategic potential, but it didn't negate it nearly as much as Ned just falling behind, 0-6, and then really only getting 1 real Ravage off in the entire game. Uh, yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do. Maybe the supports could have responded better, but in the end, the Tide had the most issue on the bottom lane, and that's what prevented them from even getting a chance at a comeback.
Yes, sir. Well, quick coverage today, Blaze. That'll wrap it up. Only 2 games, and they were 2 pretty quick ones. The Sneaky Nyx Assassins will go 2-0 to wrap up our, I think this is day 4 of, no, day 3, pardon me, of Starladder Season 10 America coverage. I'm Zyori, joined by Blaze at Zyori TV, at Blaze Casting, and at Beyond the Summit. That's it, buddy. We're done for today. I have nothing else. That's it. We'll see you later for next Starladder. Blaze, any other closing words?
Hard to follow that game, man. I mean, that's really, it speaks for itself, and it was a pleasure casting this one with you once again. North American Dota. It's definitely polarizing as far as who's on the top, who's on the bottom, but yeah, we get another kind of 22-0 in the books. That's 18 for 3, but SNA just won this as hard as can be, and of course took both games tonight. So well played to them. Congratulations to IX Mike Fluff, Way 2, TC, all finding their stride in this new team, even with the stand-in.
Yeah, Degenerate had a good set of games as well. Starladder SEA is up next, and it starts in about 6 hours or so, and it will be Mont doing the coverage, so y'all have a break and then come on back to Dota Starladder_EN as SEA Dota will resume. Take care, though, and we'll see you later.